Welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books and Star Wars to the Lord of the Rings and everything in between. This is episode number 3 in my 12-part series reviewing Crisis on Infinite Earths by Marv, Wolfman, and George Perez. So, as such, we are reviewing issue number 3 today. But before I do so, I just want to ask the people who have not seen my first 2 videos to go back and watch those for context. So, let's get into this. Issue 3 is titled Oblivion Upon Us and begins in the Monitor satellite, and we see that Alexander Luthor Jr., the son of Lex Luthor and Lois Lane from Earth 3, has within a matter of days grown from an infant to an adolescent. So the Monitor is observing him, trying to understand how this happened, how did this baby become a teenager, like 12-year-old boy in like 3 days. And he is monitoring him with his instruments, and he's giving us exposition, but he's talking to Alex, and he's saying, I pity you, but this might help me save the universe, and it might cause your death. And then we go to New York City, and we see, excuse me, I'm just flipping through the pages here, but we see that the Teen Titans, led by Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson, the first Robin, and in, I think it was a year prior to this, 1984 or maybe 1983, when Dick Grayson quit being Robin and became Nightwing to get out of Batman's shadow. Also written by Wolfman and drawn by Perez. But basically, the Teen Titans are based in New York, and there are riots going on because people have noticed that the world is ending, and they're trying to help and stop the chaos. And we are seeing the Empire State Building come apart. We're seeing, buildings collapsing. Chaos and anarchy are running amok. And Nightwing's like, all right, you guys go over there, you guys go over there. So the team is, and also they're joined by the Outsiders, which is a team that Batman had created as a clandestine sort of secret mission arm of the Justice League of America. So on the Titans, we've got Nightwing, Wonder Girl, Wonder Woman's sidekick Donna Troy, Jericho, who is the son of Deathstroke the Terminator, the Teen Titans villain, but Jericho's a good guy. They've also got Beast Boy and Starfire, and the Outsiders have Metamorpho, Katana, Black Lightning, and this girl who I don't know anything about. But yeah, so they're trying to stop the madness, and Wonder Girl is helping these people escape this building as it's crumbling. And Nightwing's like, Donna, look out, because there's debris gonna fall on her. And then Superman whoosh, comes in, saves her. And they're like, whew, thank God for you, Superman. And Batman also shows up. And they're like, Superman, Batman, what's going on here? And they're like, we have no freaking clue. And we see here a moment between Superman and Starfire, where Starfire realizes that her home planet of Tamaran must be destroyed because her powers aren't working on this wave of destruction that is sweeping across the world. And she's crying, and Superman comforts her. She's like, you don't understand, Superman. And he's like, yes, I do. And it's like, oh, because pre-Crisis, Superman, was still raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent in Smallville, Kansas, and he loves them and embraces his humanity. But he also has a strong longing, especially in the 70s and 80s, a strong longing to sort of preserve the knowledge and culture of Krypton. And so he's like, yeah, I understand what you're going through, Starfire. and it's a powerful moment, and it's only like one panel. But then Batman sees the Flash, and you know, he's like, oh my gosh, not this again, because, you know, he's seen Flash a few times and he's fading away and crumbling to dust, and Batman's like, no, my friend! And he's like, I gotta stop this! So he tries to like grab Flash and pull him into reality, and Jericho's like, because Jericho can't speak because his like throat was cut and it destroyed his voice box. But Jericho tackles Batman to try and get him, you know, to stay in reality, and Flash starts fading away, and Morpho is like, no, not him, not Flash, he's so much cooler than I am, he's actually useful. Metamorpho is a character who can create anything if he can think of the chemical compound, but he's an idiot and he can't always remember what the formulas are, so he's pretty much useless. But he looks kind of cool. Yeah, Batman's face is like, no! So, yeah, Flash fades away and the Titans and the Insiders are like, ah! And then we go to space and we see Brainiac, a classic Superman villain who's a living computer. Living, I use the term loosely, but he is observing the universe unraveling, and his prime directive is to, you know, preserve his existence. So he's like, alright, I gotta go to Earth, ask Superman for help, and wait, no, he says, I gotta see Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor and Brainiac have teamed up many times. They are close allies. So he's like, I gotta go find Lex and we gotta figure this shit out. And so he like, boom! He jumps to hyperdrive, and then we go back to World War II in the made-up country of Markovia in the Soviet Union. And we see the German invasion of Markovia. It's June, it's after D-Day, but it's still 1944. So it's like summer 1944. So we see Sgt Rock, who's a classic DC character, who's a sergeant in the U.S. Army during World War II. There are a bunch of comics about him. He's a great character, and his unit is called Easy Company, or the Losers, nicknamed, and they're a fun group of people. And you know, one of the anti-monitors, or one of the monitors, like giant thingies, is there, and Geoforce, who's this guy who's a member of the Outsiders, he is Markovian, and so he's like, I will help my comrades fight these fascist invaders. And Dr. Polaris, who's part of the team, who's as I said, is a Green Lantern villain, he's like, well, I might as well kill some Nazis too. And when I was reading this, I thought to myself, yeah, I bet even a supervillain, even like Dr. Polaris, would hate Nazis too. And Sgt Rock's like, what the fuck is going on here? And yeah, so they start fighting German soldiers, and the German soldiers are like, was ist das? What is going on here? There's this strange bit of architecture over there. There are these queerly dressed people and on the side of the Americans. What is going on? And Blue Beetle's like, what am I supposed to do here? I mean, I'm a scientist, yeah, and I got some cool tech, but like, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, so we see all of this happening, and the Americans and Germans are fighting each other, and then the Shadow Beasts come and they kill people, and Blue Beetle is falling to his death, and the Monitor's like, I'll send him back to his time. Boop! And then he's like, ah! And he goes home. And then we go to back to Superman of Earth 2 and Commandy and Solivar. And Superman's like, I hate to admit this, but I'm afraid. And Dawnstar, yeah, the girl from the Legion of Superheroes, she's like, hey, it's okay, Superman. I mean, yeah, we worship you in the future for being this awesome guy who never shows fear, but it's okay to be afraid when the whole universe is unraveling. And Solivar and Commandy have this cool moment where, you know, where they're talking and becoming friends. Actually, no, by this point they're solidifying their friendship. But then Solivar dies, and I'm like, no! And Commandy's like, no! And it's this heart-wrenching moment. And then we go back to the Wild West. We see Jon Hex, who's a cowboy, and some of his buddies. And there's this one of the things there. And they're like, what in tarnation's going on here? And so Firebrand, Green Lantern, and Simon and Cyborg, they show up there. And there's this one moment where Jonah Hex is like, you know, I've met Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. I mean, he doesn't know his name, but he's like, I met a guy just like that guy, because this is John Stewart Green Lantern. He's like, but he wasn't colored. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know it's supposed to be the 1870s where this is taking place, but I'm like, that won't fly today. But, you know, that's what cowboys said back then. And Marv is just, you know, showing us that. But John is trying to use his, you know, ring to fight back, and he's like, what's going on here? But he doesn't know that OO was destroyed. So he's like, I got like a half day's charge in here. He's like hitting it. He's like, but it's not working. And Simon's like, whoosh! Then it backfires on him. He's like, ah! And the cowboys, they all die and fade away, and so does the town. And then we go to the future, to the Legion, and they're like, you know, we can't stop this. What's gonna happen? And then we go back to the Monitor satellite, and he's lamenting this whole ordeal. And then Harbinger shows up, and she proclaims to her adopted father that she is going to murder him. And thus ends issue number 3. And then here is the cover of issue 4. It's a cool cover. Again, the art by Perez is top-notch, 10 out of 10. The writing in this issue is great too. I really enjoy Wolfman's style, and he pays a lot of attention to detail, and he has great character moments, as I had said in previous videos on this series. Overall, I definitely am enjoying this series, and I would definitely recommend that you read it yourself, because I glossed over details that are key, but you know, that's just what I recommend in all of my videos, to read it for yourself so that you can form your own opinion. But I really enjoyed it. Alright, that's all I have for you today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button, and if you didn't, hit the dislike button. If you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you have read this series yourself and want to give me your thoughts on it, please leave a comment for the algorithm. And if you are new and want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I talk about comic books, Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, video games, really anything nerdy that I enjoy. And I will leave a link to all of my social media accounts, and I have opened a new merch store on Teespring. I'll leave a link to that as well. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.